श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतावर्षं भगवती अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णा प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः। प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः। पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं। लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतस्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा। देवाय तस्मै नमः, देवाय तस्मै नमः। Welcome to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. We studied the 34th to 36th verse previously, wherein Sri Krishna gave us the sutra or the formula in order to achieve to the highest. What is the formula? Two words he has used: abhyasa, abhyasa, and vairagya. Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, there is something called the abhyasa yoga, the yoga of practice. Practice itself is a yoga. Why? Because while you are practicing something, that means doing something again. If you put all of your effort over there, all of your mind, all of your heart, all of your soul over there, then the result is bound to be successful. The result is bound to be positive. Therefore, but in spite of all of that, if the result is not positive, then it should be understood that somewhere something must have gone wrong. There must be some element which in Vedanta we call it as adrishta. Adrishta means unseen cause. There is an unseen cause. So we need to accept that the unseen cause is another thing which we need to understand, that we do not have any hand in that. We do not have any say in that. It is bound to happen that way, and the only way that we can accept is through resignation and say that, oh Lord, this is what you wanted me. And some saints say that probably that negativity that you received, that failure that we had, has a reason behind it. Maybe it is because in future there is something which you will be gaining by such an experience. And this must be understood by all of us. No experience ever goes away without enriching us. Every experience that we have only enriches us. It makes us more and more knowledgeable. It makes us more, and the experience makes more and more strong. So no experience should be discounted. Each and every experience has got a basic meaning towards it. Therefore, Sri Krishna said abhyasa. But if abhyasa, that means practice, is united with vairagya, with dispassion, I am doing my duty and I leave the results to the Lord. Vairagya, that is real vairagya. For most of us, it is very difficult. It is very difficult. But if we take heed to Sri Krishna's teachings here, abhyasa, along with abhyasa, along with practice, there must also be dispassion. These are the twin ideals, abhyasa, and Swami Vivekananda very beautifully said, the ideals he talked about the India, he said, these twin ideals of our nation, of India, are renunciation and service. He used the term renunciation, we can say dispassion and service, abhyasa and vairagya. So let us keep that in a corner of our mind whenever we are performing any of our actions. Let us keep this in our mind and say, look, I have to do the abhyasa, I will have to do this practice, and I must do it not aiming at any result. If you are result oriented, then you are not going to succeed, or you may succeed, but the success will be short term, it will not be long term. So therefore, abhyasa and vairagya, we took a long time to dwell upon this verse, and then in the next verse, Sri Krishna also said to us, asamyatatmana. But if you are not controlled, samyama means self-control. This is a very important thing. Whenever I do something, if I lose my poise, if I lose my cool, then whatever I am doing will become unsuccessful. A lawyer once told me a long time ago, I might have said this before, he said, look here Swamiji, whenever a lawyer gets very angry in court, it means that he is lacking in some knowledge. And that impatience or that anger is detrimental to his arguments. The judge sees the person and then the way he behaves, and if he gets extremely angry and defensive, then the judge thinks that he has something to hide, therefore he will not give judgment in his favor. So generally very top lawyers, when they argue in the court, they are very cool. They are very composed. They will put forth their argument forcibly, but they will do it with great humor, without getting unnecessarily worked up. So therefore he says, asamyatatmane, a person who is not controlled, for such a person, yoga is dushprapa, is very difficult to have, or to have any success in yoga. Vashyatmana, but on the other hand, a person who has total self-control, yatata, such a person is always striving. Even the greatest of successes does not go into his head. He is still striving, become better and better. And he will not stop till the best is achieved. So he says, that's why Swami Vivekananda said, he quoted from the Katha Upanishad, that go on and on, go on and on. Uttishtata jagrata prapya varan nibodhata. Awake, arise and awake. Stop not till the goal is reached. So, in a very cryptic manner, in a very short sentence, the whole gamut of sadhana is mentioned over there. Arise. That means you have to first get up. And then awake. That means you become knowledgeable. Awake doesn't mean just getting up from the sleep, but awakening means you rouse all the energy that is within you. You bring it forward, so to say. Rise, awake, and stop not. Do not stop. Obstacles will come, successes also will come, but do not stop over there until you reach to the highest, the best. Do not stop before that. There will be other gains on the way. Short-term gains will be there, but that ultimate goal that one has to achieve must be the real goal that I want to achieve. The ultimate goal must be the real goal. Shakyaha vashyatmana tu yatata shakyaha avaptum upayataha. That means employ the proper means. Upaya. Upaya means proper means. Proper tools must be there for a tradesperson to do any job. Otherwise, that person using outdated techniques or outdated tools will take much longer time, and the end results also will not be as neat and clean as it should be. So, Shaktyaha avaptum upayataha. Now, Arjuna in the 37th to 37 to 39 verses, 3 verses, he puts this very important question to Sri Krishna. See, the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita is that even though Sri Krishna is the greatest teacher of all mankind, and Arjuna knows truly well that there can be no greater teacher than Sri Krishna, yet he keeps on prodding him. He keeps on prodding him. This is the beauty of a wonderful student also. A very intelligent student will try to get the best out of the teacher, will try to probe the teacher. That is why it is called as samvada. It means it is a dialogue. This whole Bhagavad Gita is a samvada. It is a dialogue. It's not a monologue. Just Sri Krishna saying something and sheepishly Arjuna is sitting and listening to it. It's not like that. Arjuna is challenging him and he puts very difficult questions to Sri Krishna. But Sri Krishna, being the Lord himself, he is not upset about it. Rather, he is encouraging him. In fact, whenever he is saying something, he leaves some doubt for Arjuna to be clarified, so that he can ask that question. So a real guru is one who will try to bring out the hidden knowledge that is in the disciple. Does not, as they call in management, it's not top down. They are not just filling it in and then throw things at them, or just instruct the person and say, you work out, you do whatever you want. No. Here, the guru is bringing out the best out of his disciple by this method of pariprashna or samvada. Ask your question. Put forth all of your doubts, and slowly, all the knowledge can be extracted from the guru. And then again, there will be some doubt, something unsaid, so to say, and then the disciple has to catch that, and then we'll have to clarify those doubts. So Sri Arjuna here asks this question in 37, 38, 39. Ayati shraddhayopeto yogachalita manasaha aprapya yoga samsiddhim kam gatim krishna gacchati kachinno bhaya vibrashtaschinnabramiva nashyati apratishto mahabhaho vimudho brahmanah pati etanme samshayam krishna chetumarhasya sheshatah tvadanya samshayasyasya chettanahyupapadyate. First 37th verse, he asks this question. Hey Krishna, a person who with Shraddha, what is Shraddha? Sri Shankaracharya defines it in the Viveka Chudamani. Shastrasya Guruvakyasya Satya Buddhi Avadharanam Sa Shraddha Katita Sadbhir Yaya Vastu Upalabhyate. Shastrasya in the scripture and Guruvakyasya in the words of the teacher. Satya Buddhi Avadharana. To know that what the scripture is saying and what the experience of the teacher teaches me is real. Do not at the first instant itself think that your teacher is of no use, your teacher is a fool, or the book that has been written is. One young man approached me a few years ago. He was very intelligent, extraordinarily intelligent boy. And he had stopped going to school. He was studying from home and he stopped going to school. So his mother, she herself is a teacher. She could not force him to go to school at all, but he would just close his room door and he would sit there and he will read books one after the other. He was a voracious reader, he went on. So I had gone to their house and then I asked the boy, called him, I knew him since he was a baby. So he asked, well, my dear, how is it that you are not going to school? He said, why should I go to school? I said, you go and learn something from the teacher. No, the teachers are all fools. I said, what do you mean? Teachers are all fools and you have become a great intellectual, is it? See, there is no Shraddha in such a person. There is no Shraddha in such a person. So I scolded him and of course gave him a mouthful and then I think reluctantly he started going to school. After that he said, no, everything is in the books, and even he says, he showed me something, there is mistake in the book also. I said, well, you are not learning in the proper manner. You have to have that Shraddha. You have to have that intense faith in the book, and also in, yes, if there is a mistake in the book, which is very normal, after all it is written script, So you can ask your teacher and the teacher will clarify that. But just do not stand on the premise that you are intelligent, more intelligent than your teacher, and that you are there is no need for you to go to school. So here what Shankaracharya says is Shastrasya, scripture, and in the Guru Vakya, in the words of the Guru, Satya Buddhi Avadharanam. To know the truth, Avadharana means to understand the truth behind it. See, when a teacher teaches you, when a teacher gives out his best or her best to you, the only desire, we can say, in the heart of the teacher is that you better yourself, even better than himself or herself. See, that is the greatness of a teacher is there. The teacher wants that the student must excel even himself or herself. Then the teacher is really very happy, blesses you with all his heart and soul. Therefore, Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya. So whenever you learn something from the Guru, first accept it as truth. Then practice it. As you keep on practicing, several doubts will come, and therefore those doubts must be cleared as and when they appear. Do not leave it for a longer period of time. Just ask the question of the teacher after the class, and then you get the answers from him or her. Then the Shraddha, that deep faith and that deep discipline will remain within you. Shastras, Satya. So what does Arjuna say here? O Krishna, Shraddhaya, with Shraddha or faith, Upetaha, a person who is endowed with it, Ayatihi, who is not steadfast in striving, Yogat Chalitamanasaha, who has swerved from the yogat, from the spiritual path, Chalitamanasa, who has been distracted, who has moved out of the path, Yoga Samsiddhim Aprapya Kamgatim Gacchati, having reached that kind of spiritual perfection, without attaining that spiritual perfection, what kind of a state does he achieve? What is the fate of a man who, though endowed with firm faith, is not steadfast in his practices owing to distractions and therefore fails to reach spiritual perfection? That is the first question. That is, a person has faith but is not regular in spiritual practice. For some reason, the mind is wavering here and there, and therefore loses track of the path. And then the person passes away. So what will happen to all that one has done? See, whatever you have done, it always comes with you. But Arjuna has a doubt. See, in this life, I have exerted a lot, put forth a lot of effort. But yet, if I don't reach the goal in this very life, then what will happen to me? If I die without knowing the truth, what will happen to me? That is the plain question. And then in the next verse, he asks another question. Kachinno bhaya bibrashta, O mighty armed Lord, bewildered in the path of Brahman, that means in the spiritual path, supportless, does he lose both this world and the next? See, ito nashta, tato brashta. In Hindi, there is a saying, Maya mili na Ram. That means I did not get neither Ram nor even Maya. That means the world. I did not get both of them. Therefore, do I lose whatever I have got? And also he is asking the question, will I lose this world as the next? At least when I do some yajna, yaga and other kamya karmas, the actions that lead me to heaven, when I perform all of them, then I am sure that I will reach to a kind of heaven. So that also is gone, and also I am not able to enjoy what I have got right now. And then he says, does he not perish like a rain cloud rent asunder? When the rain cloud appears and then um, for example, a wind blows, and then what happens? The cloud perishes, it goes away. So in the same way, does it happen to us? Then he asks in the third verse, he asks this question, Etanme samshayam Krishna. This is my doubt, O Krishna. Chettum arhasi asheshataha. You ought to, arhasi means you ought to remove these doubts. Asheshataha. Asheshataha means without any root. See, when you have a root somewhere in the wall, by some chance it is there, slowly what happens? The tree will sprout out of the from the root. Unless you completely get rid of the root, it will come back again and again. That means you need to remove the root, as it were. You must be able to destroy the root itself. Doubt is such a root, Doubt, if you do not root it out, it will sprout again. You must have thought that, I have been clarified of all my doubts. But in a corner of your mind, if there is a little bit of doubt, you'll say, it has come back again, it has come back again. So there will be much more effort for you to root it out, to remove it again. Chettum arhasi asheshataha tvad anyas samshayasya asya samshayasya tvad anyaha nahi upapadyate. Nobody else, nobody better than you is there to dispel these doubts. So Sri Arjuna asks this question. What will happen to a person who has been progressing in the path of spiritual life, but due to some mishap or some disturbance, goes out of the track, and what will happen to all the effort that one has done? And the second question he asks is whether the person will enjoy something hereafter, or will he not enjoy anything after that? In Sri Krishna's time, this thought of going to heaven was a very important subject, because Sri Krishna came soon after the Vedic period. The Vedas, the Karma Kanda, that means the action part of the Vedas, were all geared to the Paraloka, that means the afterlife. What will happen to me after life? So that I will go and enjoy. So there are many different types of Swargas, or different types of heavens mentioned in the Puranas, and also there are different types of Narakas. 7 types of heavens and 7 types of hell is mentioned. 14 total, 14 Chaturdasha Bhuvana. 14 types of lokas are mentioned over there. Worlds are mentioned over there. So Arjuna is still having this question. Well, if I fail, should I go into hell, or is there an entry into heaven for me? These are the questions that he asks. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. The Lord now tries to dispel these doubts. Partha naive hanamutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyana krit durgatim tata gacchati. Sri Krishna is very, very clear in his response. He does not dodge the questions of the disciple. So he very clearly mentions, point by point, he gives the answer. Says, O son of Pritha, he does not meet with downfall either here in this world or in the hereafter. Know for certain, O dear one, that one who treads the path of virtue never goes to ruin. Yeah, this also brings into my mind the some of the ritualistic people saying, "Oh, if I utter this mantra slightly wrongly, then I will be punished. If I, while performing any of the rituals and all that, if I do it wrongly, then I will have to be punished. I will be punished by the law." No, no such thing at all. Sri Krishna is very clear about it. He says, if you are sincerely, Shraddha, that is important. If you are very sincere in what you are doing, God looks at your heart, not into what you said in by words or by actions. No, not that. He sees into your heart. So it says he does not meet with downfall here in this world or in the hereafter. So one who treads the path of virtue never goes into vain, never goes into to ruin. That is, does not get an inferior birth. Kalyanakrit, Sri Krishna uses a word here. Kalyanakrit means a doer of good. A person who has the welfare of others at all times is known as Kalyanakrit, a doer of good. A question is asked here. If a person is spiritually inclined and is always performing his own spiritual practices for his own spiritual welfare, then how is he doing any good to anyone? If I am, for example, praying or meditating all the time, then how am I doing any good to anybody else? This is a question which has been asked of monks everywhere in the world for a very, very long period of time. They say, what is the use of sitting and meditating or praying? You are only trying to release yourself, or you are trying to liberate yourself. What good does it do to the society which has given you food and clothing and a place to stay? So the gurus, they have clarified this. Sri Krishna also seems to clarify this. Says that a person who seriously follows the spiritual path, mind the word the seriously, who is very devoted, dedicated to a spiritual path, will never become, I insist on the word, will never become selfish or will never do an unjust, unrighteous action. Once his own being itself will not be able to do anything wrong. It will repel his whole system, so to say, to do anything wrong. If he faces any such situation, will not do anything at all. If you have read the life of Sri Ramakrishna, you will see this. Sri Ramakrishna's father was Kshudiram Chattopadhyay. He had a small house and a small family. They were in a village called Dere in Bengal. And there, his father had a small plot of land, a few acres of land, which was sufficient enough for the family to live upon. And his father was an extremely devout person. not a single word of untruth would ever escape his mouth, his tongue, so to say. And he was, by chanting the Gayatri mantra for years and years, he had become so pure and spiritual that Sri Ramakrishna says that when he would go in the morning to the village pool, village pond, lake, where he would take his bath, when he would go there without his upper clothing, he would be going there. People would give way to him, said, "Here comes the holy Brahmin." And he would go, and if they were taking bath, they would come out soon and allow him to go and have his bath. And Sri Ramakrishna says, and when he would chant the Gayatri Mantra standing in waist deep water, his chest would be glowing, as it were. It would be glowing like a golden orb. His chest would be glowing because he had achieved that purity of heart. Anyway, so this man was so truthful, and he was conducting the affairs of his family, etc. At that moment, at that time, the zamindar, the landlord of the village Dere, he had got entangled in some lawsuit. He had committed some kind of crime, and as a result, he was to be taken to the court, and the magistrate would sentence him. Now, to defend himself, to say that he has not done such a heinous act, he wanted somebody who is very well respected in society and who would vouch for his truthfulness, and therefore he thought, who is there in this whole village who can back me up in the court? So then he consulted a few people, and they said, Kshudiram, he is such a wonderful person. He is known to everybody, including the magistrate, as a very righteous person who will never tell an untruth. So let us go. So the landlord approaches Kshudiram and says, Kshudiram, I need your help. He said, sir, I am ready to help you at any time. Well, I have got entangled in this lawsuit, and if you will support me, and if you will say that I have not done such a crime, then there is a chance that I would be left out by the magistrate. Kshudiram got some more details about what had happened, and then he plainly said to the landlord, look here, I cannot do this. I cannot give evidence, false evidence. I cannot give false evidence in the court in favor of you, because you have committed. And the landlord tried to coax him in various ways, said, I will give you this, I will give that. But Kshudiram said no. Then he threatened, if by any chance, if you do not come, I will take away your land. I will take away your possessions. He was in that position at that time. So Kshudiram said, that doesn't matter to me at all. If you want to take away everything that I own, it's perfectly all right. After all, everything belongs to the Lord. It doesn't belong to me. So it is said that the landlord somehow, he lost the case, and therefore, and he made sure that Kshudiram lost everything. The land that he owned, the property, the house that he owned, everything was taken away by unlawful means, by the so-called landlord. And Kshudiram did not have a shelter on his head. He had to take his family. Fortunately, in the neighboring village, Kamarpukur, there was another benefactor, another virtuous person, Lahas, and he said, I will come, I will give you a small plot of land. You can cultivate there. I will also build a small hut for you. You can stay there. So it is that Kshudiram migrated, so to say, from Dere to Kamarpukur. And there Sri Ramakrishna was born many years later. Seeing this, Sri Ramakrishna says, you know, God, the Lord took birth in that household because of the truthfulness of the father. He would never talk about himself as me. He would always say this or the Lord, he would say. So he said, it is because of such truthfulness that the Lord himself took birth in that household. So Sri Krishna, he says here, Nahi Kalyana Krit, a person who does good will never have vinasha. That means will never have any destruction. He does not meet with downfall either here in this world or in the hereafter. Know for certain, O dear one, that one who treads the path of virtue never goes to ruin. This is a great assurance that Sri Krishna gives to us, that if you are true to yourself, if you tread the path of dharma, of virtue, you will never, it will never go in vain. It will never go in vain. It will always be rewarded. The reward may come slowly, but surely it will definitely come. Then Sri Krishna again says, Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam srimatam gehe yoga prashta abhijayate. The second question that Arjuna asked was, what will happen to the person hereafter? That means in the next life. What will happen? So it says, Prapya punya kritam lokan, the fallen yogi goes after death to the spheres of the righteous. There is the loka, or there is the sphere of the righteous. They will stay, the soul will remain in that state for some time till a proper body is obtained to the sphere. And after having lived there for unnumbered years, we don't know how long one has to stay in that loka, in the sphere, is reborn in this world in a pure and prosperous family. Shuchi Nam, two words Sri Krishna uses. Shuchi. Shuchi means one who is pure, one who is stainless. Sri Ramakrishna, that's why he said, Shuchi Nam. I was born in a household where there was righteousness, there was truth. Truth was given the highest respect over there, Shuchi Nam. And then says, Srimata. One may also be born in a household where there is enough wealth so that one does not have to make much effort to lead one's life comfortably, but yet one can practice one's own spiritual disciplines. Many examples can be given. There was Sri Ramakrishna's disciple, his name was Balaram Bose. He was born into a very wealthy family, Balaram, and they had estates in a few places in Orissa and also in Calcutta. So Balaram was, but from childhood, somehow he was very aloof. And so when he was married and he had to shoulder the responsibility of looking after the estates, he told his brother Radha Raman, Radha Mohan. So he told his brother, look, elder brother, who was a very successful lawyer, and he had thought that his younger brother would take responsibility of some estates. But he told his brother, sir, do not give me any of these estates. I will be happy just to stay in Puri, Jagannath Puri, the east of India. I will be there, happy to stay there. I will go to the temple daily and then worship and practice the spiritual disciplines. You just give me some monthly salary or monthly income so that my family can be maintained. You manage all of the estate. I would not demand anything from you. So then slowly then an occasion came for him to come to Kolkata and to meet Sri Ramakrishna, and his whole outlook completely took a change for the better. And so he said, I will stay in Kolkata and I will devote myself completely to the spiritual practices. He was extremely humble, but he practiced spiritual discipline so regularly that Sri Ramakrishna would every now and then go to his place in Kolkata, would even stay there overnight. Sri Ramakrishna would not stay at anybody's place generally, but he would even stay there overnight, and he would spend days and days with this great soul Balaram Basu, and he became a provider, so to say, provider to the monks of the Ramakrishna order in their initial years. So that's what it is. A person who goes, the fallen yogi goes after the death to the spheres of the righteous, and after having lived there for unnumbered years, is reborn in this world in a pure and prosperous family. So in the next verse, I will just take a few minutes. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam etadviturlabhataram loke janmayadidrisham. Or he is reborn in a family of men full of wisdom and spirituality. See the life of Sri Ramakrishna, see the life of Shankaracharya, see the life of many great souls. They were born in impoverished families, but their parents were highly spiritual. That's what it is. Either you are born into a pure, rich family, a family where there is a lot of purity in the parents, or you are born into a family which may be very impoverished, but yet there is a lot of purity over there. So he says, Athava yoginameva. Maybe the parents themselves were yogis before who had fallen from the path, and therefore you are born into such a family so that you can practice your spiritual disciplines with greater strength. Yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam etaddi durlabhataram. He says, but this second thing is very durlabha. That means it is very hard to get such a birth, to be born in a family of yogis. It is very, very, very hard to be born in a family of yogis. So with this, Sri Krishna puts to rest the doubts of Arjuna, who asks whether whatever effort that he has accomplished or a spiritual person has accomplished in one's life will go waste after the death of the body. No, he says, no, it will not be. You will be born again. Such a person will be born again in a family where the conditions are very favorable. There are favorable conditions, and that one can progress in spiritual path and achieve to the highest. So we will be concluding this chapter next Sunday, that from the 43rd verse to the 47th verse, we will study and conclude this chapter. And we will have a break in December till the end of January. We will have a break for these classes. शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम् ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ओं तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणम् Swami Atmeshananda will continue this class, his lectures at 9.